Don't forget to bring the matching cupcakes for the gender reveal. Claire's voice echoed through the speakerphone, syrupy and smug. I was at my workbench, dressed in a paint-stained hoodie, assembling handmade jewelry orders, when I overheard the laughter. The line hadn't disconnected. "She's not invited, right?" My sister giggled. "No, honey. Of course not," my mother replied smoothly. "She'd just make it awkward." Then another voice chimed in. "Aunt Valerie." Frankly, I'm relieved. I don't want her brooding in a corner, like last time. I mean, my mom added with a cold chuckle, when was the last time Ava showed up without looking like she just crawled out of a garage sale? My fingers froze over the clasp I was twisting. I blinked hard, willing myself not to cry. They didn't know I was still on the call. I didn't hang up. I didn't speak. I just stared blankly at the little amethyst pendant in my palm, its sparkle blurring with the heat in my eyes. Before we begin, drop a comment and tell us what would you do in this situation? Be honest, tell me in the comments below. We read every comment. Let's begin. My name is Ava Morgan, 29, graphic designer by training, Etsy artist by necessity, and apparently, family embarrassment by default. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat curled on the couch with my laptop, watching old family photos fade across the screensaver. Birthday parties. Vacations. All the events where I stood in the corner while Claire sparkled in the center. I was always the one holding the camera, never in the frame. When my father passed away 2 years ago, he left me a letter and a key. Nothing else. Everything else, the house, the stocks, the retirement funds, all went to Claire for her future family. I never resented Claire, not deeply. But my mother's words? She's not important? That cut in a way I wasn't ready for. At 3:42 a.m., I opened my email and stared at a draft I'd never finished. An old college contact had reached out months ago. A tech startup needed branding help. I had ghosted it because I was too busy. Too scared, really. I clicked reply and wrote just 3 words. Still need help. 3 months earlier, I had taken the job. Not just taken it, I nailed it. They were based in Austin. I flew down for 2 weeks. The CEO, Parker Sullivan, a 36-year-old tech visionary with a reputation for blunt honesty and rare loyalty, had looked over my designs and said, This feels like $1 million rebrand." By the end of week 2, they offered me an equity deal instead of just cash. I hesitated. "Listen," Parker told me, "I've seen designers come and go. But you get it. You feel the brand in your bones. This is personal for you. So I'm going to make it personal for us." I said yes. That decision would change everything. Back to the present. The morning of the baby shower, I wasn't there. I didn't post a passive-aggressive status. I didn't call to say I was sick. I simply didn't show. And no one noticed. No one called. No one texted. Not even my cousin Paige, who used to sleep in my bed during family reunions. Instead, they partied. Champagne. Balloons. Matching pink silk robes. All over Instagram. "Morgan Royalty" was the caption. That same night, something else broke the internet. Ava Morgan, the woman behind Kindra's $40 million turnaround. From Etsy to equity queen, meet the quiet force shaking up the tech world. I had done a TEDx talk. Parker surprised me by making it live that evening. Someone from Forbes clipped it and made a reel. It went viral overnight. The next morning, I woke up to 342 unread messages. And by 10 a.m., a local news van was parked outside my tiny rental house. Knock, knock, knock. I opened the door still in my sleep shirt. There stood Claire. Behind her, my mother, Aunt Valerie, Paige, and 2 more cousins I hadn't seen in years. Claire looked like she'd been crying. My mother like she'd aged 10 years overnight. "Can we talk?" Claire whispered. "Please?" I didn't answer right away. The cameras down the street were already rolling. I could hear the buzzing of the drone above. For the first time, I wasn't the one in the shadows. I was the headline. And they were just footnotes in my story. The air was thick with tension as I stood in the doorway, watching their faces shift between embarrassment, regret, and something else. Panic. Claire's voice trembled. Ava, we didn't know. No one told us you were doing all this. I leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed. You didn't ask. Mom reached forward, her lips tight. We didn't mean to hurt you, sweetheart. Didn't you? I asked quietly, not raising my voice. You told people I'd make it awkward. You all laughed. Claire wiped her eyes, mascara smudged. That was just talk. You know how Mom is. She didn't mean anything by it. But she did. And they all knew it. My phone buzzed again. CNN was running a follow-up. Then came the New York Times. Then a request from CBS to do a morning interview. My inbox was a storm I couldn't keep up with. Aunt Valerie tried to peek behind me, as if expecting some mansion or personal assistant to appear from the shadows. You still live here? For now, I said, expression unreadable. Claire stepped closer. Can we come in? I didn't move.
Why?
So we can fix this.
Say sorry.
Make things right, she rushed out. I paused. You didn't want me at your shower. That was before we knew. Before you knew what? I asked. That I mattered? That I wasn't a walking shame stamp on your curated life. No one spoke. My neighbor, Mr. Caldwell, walked by with his retriever and waved. Congrats again, Ava. The missus says your TEDx was incredible. I waved back with a small smile. The silence on my porch was deafening. Claire finally said it. We need your help. Of course. There it was. Not just regret. Not just guilt.
Need.
Mom looked like she was trying to swallow a rock. Your sister's husband. He just lost his job. And the baby's due in a few months. They're panicking. I raised my eyebrows. So, I should do what exactly? Help us get in touch with those investors, Claire pleaded. Maybe Parker. Or your team. Alone. Anything. You think I'm a bank? No, Mom said sharply. But you owe us a little decency. I laughed. I actually laughed. You mean the way you gave me decency? At Dad's funeral, when you made Claire the focus. Or when you gave her the house and told me to be happy with some dusty key. Mom blinked. They were speechless. And in that moment, I understood something I never had before. They hadn't just underestimated me. They had erased me.
But now?
Now I was all they could see. Claire reached for my hand, the tears flowing again. Ava, please. Just think of the baby. Your niece. I looked down at her hand. Then I said softly, did you think of me before you humiliated me? Did you think of my feelings when you laughed behind my back? When you uninvited me to everything because I didn't wear designer clothes? Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. I stepped back, and I closed the door. But I didn't slam it. Because this wasn't about revenge. This was about respect. Something they had never offered me. Not until the world did. That afternoon, I walked into Parker's office in New York. He glanced up from his screen and smiled. You ready? Let's make it official, I said. The contract had been finalized. The rebrand had launched. Kyndra Incorporated was now one of the fastest-growing SaaS startups in the country. And today, they were naming me Chief Creative Officer. We shook hands. As cameras flashed and I posed beside Parker and the board, someone whispered from the back, is that the Ava Morgan? The woman no one wanted at a baby shower was now being watched by millions. And somewhere across the city, I knew my mother was still glued to the TV. Watching. Regretting. But it was too late. 3 days passed. Not a single knock. No calls, no texts, no more tearful pleas at my doorstep. Just silence. But it wasn't the silence of peace. It was the silence of people licking their wounds in private, trying to rewrite history before it reached too many ears. But it was too late for that. Because the world had already decided I mattered. The interview with CBS aired Thursday morning. I wore a deep navy dress, clean lines, simple makeup, and a thin gold chain my father had given me the night before he died. They'd asked me about my journey, my family, and the viral explosion that had suddenly made me a household name. I didn't say anything cruel. I didn't drag anyone. But I told the truth. I come from a family where I was always made to feel like a background character. Quiet. Invisible. Uninvited. I said, my voice steady. It took me a long time to realize I didn't need to be seen by them to believe in myself. That quote hit every news outlet within hours. People started commenting in droves.
Sharing.
Tagging. Women from every walk of life messaging me, saying things like, "This is my story too." But one message stopped me cold. It was from my old high school teacher, Mrs. Donahue. "Ava, I always knew you were meant for more. Your mother never saw it. But I did. I'm so proud of you. R. Donahue." I broke down reading it. Quietly. Alone. In the dark. The kind of cry that doesn't need noise. Just release. Because she had seen me. And now, finally, I saw myself.
Parker called that night.
"You sure you're okay? We can hold off the next press run, if you want some time." "No," I said. "Let's ride this wave. But I do want to make one stop before the next round." He didn't even ask where. He trusted me. The next morning, I drove back to my hometown for the first time in over a year, and pulled up in front of the country club where Claire's post-shower celebration brunch was happening. I wasn't invited, of course. But this time, I wasn't coming to sit quietly in the back. I walked in through the front doors. All heads turned. Some jaws literally dropped. Claire was seated at the center table, flanked by pastel gifts and a giant cake that said, "Mommy to be." She turned pale.
Ava.
I smiled, just stopping by. The room buzzed with whispers. My mother stood quickly. "Ava, sweetheart, we didn't expect." "I know," I said. "You didn't expect me at the shower. Or the brunch. Or at any point in your idea of what success looks like." Aunt Valerie spilled her mimosa, trying to stand. "Well, this is unexpected." Claire looked frozen. Her hands clutched her belly, like a shield. I stepped forward, calm, collected. I handed Claire a small, neatly wrapped box. She looked down at it, confused. "It's for the baby," I said softly. Inside was a check. For $1 million.
Claire gasped.
"Wah, Ava, I can't." "You can," I said.
"And you will."
"Because I don't hold grudges, Claire. I outgrow them." I turned to leave. But just before I reached the door, I paused. And without looking back, I said, "Next time you decide who's important, don't wait for the world to tell you. Look around your own table." Then I left. And I didn't look back. I was already on the highway when my phone rang.
Claire.
I didn't answer. She called again. And again. Finally, she texted.
"Ava, please. I'm sorry."
"That wasn't about the money. You didn't have to do that. I never thought you'd ever want anything to do with me again." She was right. I hadn't. But something in me, maybe the piece of me that still remembered braiding her hair when we were little or carrying her home when she twisted her ankle in 6th grade, hadn't shut all the way. Still, I didn't reply. I wasn't doing this for her redemption. I was doing it for mine. I parked my car in front of a quiet cafe, the one Dad used to take me to when I was younger. The one Mom always called a waste of time. I ordered black coffee and pulled out my sketch pad. It had been a while since I designed anything that wasn't for corporate branding. I wanted to draw for myself again. Not for approval. Not for applause. Just for Ava. I had only sketched a few lines when a voice interrupted my thoughts. "You mind if I sit?" It was Parker. He smiled, motioning to the chair across from me. "How did you find me?" I asked. "You texted me the address 10 minutes ago." "Oh." I'd forgotten. He sat down, looking tired but proud. "You really gave her $1 million?" I nodded. It was never about punishing them. It was about ending it. I don't want to carry that weight anymore. "That's the difference between you and most people," he said. "They scream for attention. You just become someone they can't ignore." We sat in silence for a moment. Then he added, "You sure you're ready for next week? Forbes Women's Summit. That's another kind of battlefield." "I've already been through the worst battlefield," I replied. "A living room where I was told I didn't matter." He nodded, his expression softening. "Then you'll be fine." That night, I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling of my tiny rental. Still no luxury condo. No hired help. No flashy car parked outside. But I felt richer than ever. Because I'd found my voice. And I hadn't raised it to do it. The next day, the baby shower drama took on a life of its own. TikTok creators were reenacting the scene with dramatic voiceovers. Podcasts were dissecting family dynamics and emotional neglect. My story had become a symbol. But the most surreal moment came when I got a call from my mother. I let it ring out. She left a voicemail. Her voice was hushed. Uncertain.
Ava,
I don't expect anything from you. I just want to say, I was wrong. About a lot of things. And I'm sorry. You didn't deserve the way we treated you. I hope one day you can forgive me. I didn't delete it. But I didn't respond either. Some things aren't fixed with apologies. Some things are fixed by never going backward again. The following weekend, I stood backstage at the Forbes Women's Summit in Los Angeles. Lights buzzed overhead. Camera crews moved like clockwork. Famous faces wandered by in sharp suits and power dresses. But I wasn't nervous. I was ready. The host leaned in. You're up in 60 seconds, Miss Morgan. Just speak from the heart. People are waiting for you. I stepped up to the edge of the stage. My heels tapped softly against the polished wood. As the crowd quieted, the announcer's voice boomed. Please welcome Chief Creative Officer of Kindra Incorporated, viral brand strategist, and a voice for overlooked women everywhere, Ava Morgan. Applause. Camera flashes. A standing ovation before I even spoke. And I stood there for a moment, letting it sink in. Because just months ago, I was the girl not worth a baby shower invite.
now?
Now I was here. I adjusted the mic. I grew up in a house where silence was safer than speaking. I began. Where being unnoticed felt like protection. And for a long time, I believed what they said about me, that I was too much or not enough or simply in the way. You could hear a pin drop. But the truth is, we don't become powerful when others approve of us. We become powerful the moment we stop asking for that approval.
People leaned in.
I didn't come here to name names or shame anyone. I came here because I know there's someone watching, maybe sitting in a family event right now, wondering if anyone would care if they left the room. I'm here to tell you, you matter, even when they don't see it yet. Applause rose again, louder this time. Some were crying. I smiled. That night, as I sat alone in my hotel suite, still in my heels and makeup, my phone buzzed again.
Claire.
I sighed. Then I opened the message. Ava, her name's Lily. We named her after Dad. His favorite flower. I hope one day she's even half as strong as you. I won't ask for anything. But if you ever want to meet her, we'd love that. I stared at the screen for a long time. Then I typed back. I'll meet her. One day.
Not yet.
But someday. Because I didn't need to slam doors. I didn't need revenge. I had something far better. Freedom. The kind that comes from no longer needing to be invited to the table because you've already built your own. And this time, it had my name on every chair. Ava Morgan. The girl they once laughed at. The woman they now wished they'd never underestimated. The next morning, I watched the sunrise from my balcony. No camera crews. No reporters.
Just me. Whole.
Unapologetically myself. And I knew they were still watching.
But now?
They were watching with respect. If this story hits you even a little, just hit that like button. It helps more than you think. Don't forget to subscribe if you've ever felt this kind of pain. You're not alone.